Hello, everyone. Just come to find a comfortable seat. Let me try to get myself on the screen. So finding a place to kind of settle into the practice. So I'm in a seat position, and if seating doesn't feel comfortable for you, you can lie down. And then just take a moment to connect to all the places that your body is currently making contact with the ground underneath you. You can even start to close your eyes here or have a soft gaze as you bring your attention to what's happening internally, as well as the relationship you have with your environment. And then from this place of connecting to the earth, feel this opposing action of lifting from those places, right? Either reaching up through the crown of the head to grow the spine long, or lifting up through the heart if you're lying on the ground. And then from here, start to broaden through the collarbones and then roll the shoulder blades down the back as you pull in on the low belly. Then bring the tip of the tongue to the back of your teeth and release your bottom jaw. Then from here, we'll all take 3 rounds of breath together to orient ourselves to the space. So inhale through the nose. And then exhale either through the nose or through your mouth, whatever feels the most meaningful to you in this moment. Then inhale through the nose. And then when you're ready, releasing an exhale of your choice. And then last time, inhale through your nose. And then releasing a meaningful exhale. Then you can start to bring your hands towards your heart and bow your head towards your heart center. To take the time now to set an intention for your practice. Something that can guide your experience on the mat that you can dedicate your practice to. And then we'll all take a round of breath together to seal this intention. So inhale through your nose. And releasing an exhale of your choice. All right. Then you can start to release your hands and open your eyes. All right. So today, the theme that has been coming up in my yoga practice, as well as kind of theming with my previous classes over the past couple of weeks, is my sutras teacher talks about that yoga is this 2-pronged approach. And so for the past 2 weeks, we've been really focusing on the first part, which is like practice, commitment, dedication, right? That our practice becomes firmly grounded, right? Like unchanging when we do it for a really long time, consistently, and with our whole heart. And so today we're going to be talking about like the other really important piece that feels like it opposes it, but is actually pretty much they go together in like a synchronistic way. And so the theme of today is talking about vairagya, which is translated in Sanskrit as like non-attachment, dispassion, letting go. And so how it relates to practice is it's essentially saying, right, like we need to practice yoga without being so focused on the future outcome of what yoga has to give us, right? Or being goal oriented in the like, I practice yoga for the, you know, I keep making this joke, like the yoga butt, or like really nice chaturanga arms, or the handstand, right? That it's kind of inviting a reframe that we practice yoga without being so focused on like one outcome, because it invites us to open ourselves up to the infinite possibilities of the outcome, right? That there are infinite ways yoga can impact our lives and can like pierce through us. We just have to be open to all of those possibilities. And another way that I like to think about it too is you can also think of, right, so yoga is not being attached to future outcomes, and it's also letting go of anything that's come before, right? So we've all developed habits, we've all developed routines, we've all like embedded ourselves in systems. I'm thinking about like, you know, like our inherently racist, like criminal justice system, or right, the system of white privilege, right? In leading us up to this moment, we've got to let go of all of the stuff that's not working, right? Or the stuff that is keeping us stuck in the same place. Vairagya is like letting go of the things that are no longer serving us or keeping us stuck and away from the experience of yoga, which is like our experience of ourselves as whole, complete, resilient, adaptable. And my sutras teacher today was talking about, right, like befriend change, right? And this is the whole part of letting go is, right, like opening ourselves up to change, because that's the only thing that is guaranteed in life, is that things will change and shift, and it's inviting us to be along for the ride. It's like, right, like the pretty like cliche term of loving the journey without being so focused on the destination, because like the destination has infinite possibilities if we let it. All right. So on that note, I'm going to have everybody lie on their backs to begin with. And from here, so I'll show you with a blanket, but you can always use a yoga bolster or a pillow. And so you'll lie on your back and first keep your feet on the ground, bend your knees, and then you'll bring your folded blanket or towel underneath your pelvis, and then rest your pelvis on the blanket. If you have a bolster, you can always put a bolster underneath if you'd like to have your hips higher. And then from here, start to extend your legs out in front of you. And then you can release your palms down by your sides. And I invite you to make a choice of whether you'd like to close your eyes or have a soft gaze out in front of you. And then begin to settle into this shape. And first notice, right, if there's any like gripping or resistance that's happening as your body is starting to make contact with the ground underneath you. Right, maybe noticing if there's any part of your body that's holding back from feeling like you can let go here. Relaxing the jaw, maybe even relaxing the space between your eyebrows to fully invite this like physical manifestation of what it feels like to release here. Knowing that there's nothing to do or nothing to undo, just an experience of being open to this is experience. Oh, Sari's talking to me. Hold on. So continue to rest here. And continue to keep your body in your awareness. And then begin to shift your attention from your body to how you are physically breathing and the relationship you have with your breath in this moment, as well as how the relationship your body has with your breath. Becoming curious of how the inhale manifests in your body, as well as observing how the exhale releases out into the world. And then as you continue to rest here, now begin to shift your attention to your exhale. this part of your body and your experience that intuitively knows how to let go. That with each exhale, you can release what you do not need, right? The carbon dioxide. That happens every time you breathe. That your body already intuitively knows how to let go. And it's your job in this experience to study this process and to work with it so that it becomes a little easier for you to let go in other parts of your life. And then when you're ready from here, now start to bring the toes pointed up towards the ceiling and press out through the heels. Then from here, we'll inhale to hug the right knee in towards the chest, and then interlace your fingers on top of the knee or behind the thigh, determined by what feels available to you. And by being able to ground down through your upper body, right? So the back of your shoulder blades are pressing into the ground here. And so as you press into the back body, you now start to simultaneously hug the knee in towards the chest, but then press the knee into the hands. So there's this pushing and pulling opposing action that's happening, right? That there's efforting happening in the body. And then as you start to bring effort into the body, where can you release the parts of your body that are not needed right now, right? Like maybe softening in the jaw or releasing in the forehead as you bring the knee in towards the chest. And then on your inhale, now start to bring the right knee over to the right. Continue to hug it into the body as you press the knee into the hands. And imagine that with each exhale, you can let go a little bit more or release into the ground, even a degree more. And then we'll inhale to bring the knee up towards center and then exhale to bring it over to the left. And you can either keep your hands on your knee or you can bring the left hand to the outside of the right knee. And you'll just want the femur to cross the body. You won't necessarily need the knee to go over into a spinal twist. We're more focusing on the action that's happening in the femur and the hip socket. That you're just moving the femur to its end range without moving the pelvis. And then letting your attention come back to your exhale. And then we'll inhale to bring the knee back to center. And then exhale to bring the right foot down towards the floor. And then extend the right leg out in front. And then we'll switch sides to bringing the left knee in towards your chest. Interlace the hands either behind the thigh or on top of the knee. As you press into the shoulder blades into the floor and then press the knee in towards the chest. Or hold the knee in towards the chest with the hands and then press the knee in towards the hands. And then rest your attention once again in your exhale here. And as we start to move through these shapes, right, you might notice that the mind has a tendency to try to fill in the gaps here. And so you could be thinking of things that have happened before or things that will happen after, and utilizing this time with your exhale as anytime a thought tries to distract you, can you use your exhale to let go of that thought, just for the time being. And we'll inhale here, and then exhale to bring the knee over to the left. All right, keeping it in the hip socket and just moving it slightly over to the left with that push-pull action. Right, most of our thoughts are repeating. And so especially if you use the breath to let go of the thought just during our time in our bodies, on our mats, right? Know that the thoughts will always be there and that you don't necessarily have to finish the thoughts right now. You can let them go with each exhale. And then we'll inhale to bring the knee up towards center, and then right, slightly moving the femur over towards the right side of the body while keeping the femur in the hip socket. Then we'll inhale to bring the knee back to center, and then release the feet down to the floor. And then bend both knees and bring both feet to the ground. And then you can lift the hips, move the props away. And I don't have very much space in my apartment, but if you have enough space, extend your arms out like a T with palms face down. If you're like me and there's like a door or something in the way, you can bring cactus arms and you'll place the back of your hands on the ground. But my preference is for you to have your palms face down to the sides of you. Then we'll inhale to bring the knees in towards the chest. So keep the shoulder blades really planted, and you'll keep this sensation of your back, the top of your back body on the ground as you hug the knees in towards the chest. Then we'll inhale here, and then exhale to draw your knees over to the right. And you'll keep the knees pulling up towards the like armpit or elbow. And it's okay if your pelvis lifts up, but you want your shoulder blades planted on the ground. And then as you let the right knees go, as you let your knees go over to the right, the abdomen turns to the opposite direction. Then inhale the knees back to center, and then exhale knees over to the opposite side, while the abdomen turns and you plant both of your shoulder blades onto the ground. Then inhale to center, and then exhale to right. And then inhale to center, and then exhale to left. And you're keeping the knees lifted, so they do not go on the floor. They are staying lifted here. And then next time, inhale back to center, exhale to right. And then you can decide whether you keep the legs here, or if you start to extend the left leg over to the left. You can just see my foot opening the back of the knee. And then if you've chosen to extend the knee, bend the knees back, or bend the left knee back, and then we'll start to roll onto the back. And then exhale last time to the left, and then you can decide to extend the right leg. Mine can't go very far because there's a door, but if it feels good in your practice, you can start to extend the right leg. Hold for a breath or two, and then when you're ready, start to bend the right knee, and then bring the knees back towards the chest, and then release the feet down. And then shake it out. Maybe wiggle onto your back. All right, so have your strap handy. We'll use it, not this little pose, we'll use it in the next one. And from here, bring both of your feet on the ground, palms face down, and then inhale to stretch your right leg up. And then from here, you're gonna draw circles with your big toe on the ceiling. So just go in one direction. And then now you're gonna draw circles on the ceiling, but with the ball of the foot. So not with the big toe, but with the ball. And then now just the heel, right? So you'll notice that the circles get smaller and smaller, and maybe a bit more challenging as you go to the heel. And then we'll switch directions. So the heel starts this, and then the ball, and then the big toe. All right. Then bring your foot to stillness. Turn the right toes over to the right. So you're externally rotating the leg. And then bend the right knee to place the outer right ankle on the top of the left thigh. Then from here, so have really active feet. So you're flexing at the ankles, and then extend the right leg away from you. So it's the inner right thigh is like pushing away and pulling up towards the ceiling so that the thigh resists. And then you can stay here if you feel this enough in your like outer right hip. You can stay here, or you can start to bring the left knee in either by putting the left foot on a prop or interlacing your fingers behind the thigh or the calf. Again, whatever feels the most meaningful to you. But still keeping the right leg really active here. And making your choice by being able to keep the shoulder blades really rooted and planted here. And then as you start to feel a bit more sensation in your body, right, using the exhale to like let the sensation be there. Right, that oftentimes when there's discomfort or even difference or change, we have a tendency to resist it. And if it's not like acute pain or it's not like an alarm bell, it's just uncomfortable. Using the exhale to like let go of needing this to be any different than what it is. Knowing that these poses, right, we'll be in many, many poses today. So if you aren't liking this one, know that this is temporary. And then we'll inhale here. And then exhale. If you have the left leg brought into your chest, you can start to release the left foot down. And then we'll inhale to stretch the right leg up. Maybe if you like the ankle rolls, you can start to roll the ankle out and then release the right foot down. If you don't have downstairs neighbors, you can just like plop the foot down, but I have neighbors, so I don't want to piss them off. So now we'll switch sides. So keep the right foot planted as you extend the left leg up towards the ceiling. And you might notice, right, you have two different sides. My left leg is always my crankier side, and we'll start to draw the circles, right, with the toe. And then with the ball of the foot, and then with the heel. The joke that I've been making this whole week with this class is like, I gotta let go of my ankle being able to draw a circle. It just doesn't, but that's okay. And then starting to move from the heel in the opposite direction and the ball of the foot, and then the big toe. And then we'll bring the foot to stillness, turn the toes over to the right to externally rotate the leg. And then bend the left knee, bring the outer left ankle on the thigh, and then extend the inner left thigh. You're resisting it away from the body and then lengthening it up towards the ceiling, so the inner thigh. Then from here, again, you get to decide, like, this is a choose your own adventure, right? If this feels good, you can stay here, or if you'd like to bring the right foot on as prop or interlace the fingers behind the thigh. But regardless of the shape you've chosen, right, being really intentional about rooting through the shoulder blades and the back of the body. And intentionally bringing your attention to your exhale. And see how your exhale, right, can change the shape, or see how it helps you be in the shape a little bit more, or just kind of noticing the relationship your exhale has with these postures. And see if you can invite a sense of what would it be like to let go here? Or asking yourself, what can I let go of here? What doesn't serve me in this moment? And when you're ready, releasing the grip of the right leg and then bringing the right foot down to the floor. And then we'll extend the left leg up towards the ceiling, maybe draw the circle if that feels really good. And then releasing the left foot down. Then walk your knees out to the sides of your mat, and then we'll just windshield wiper the legs side to side. Inhale up, exhale to the left. Inhale up, exhale to the right. or if you've chosen a different pattern. Also, you know, a great thing to let go of is having to do things exactly perfectly or exactly what the teacher says, right? That the real yoga is happening on your mat, not necessarily what's happening on mine. Then start to bring the legs back up towards center. And then grab your strap. If you don't have a strap, I'll cue it without a strap. But if you do have a strap, make a tiny loop. And you're going to like lasso one of your feet in it. So like a really small loop as best you can. And my like suggestion for yogis, if you don't have a strap, if you're gonna get one of the really like, get one of the really long straps. Those are the best ones. That's my 2 cents. All right. Now, okay. Tiny little loop. And then you'll bring your right foot into the loop and then bring it on the ball of your foot and extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. If you have like a strap like thing that you can't make a loop out of, you can just bring the strap around the ball of the foot and extend the leg up towards the ceiling. If you got nothing that works as a strap, just interlace your hands behind your thigh and then start to press up through the heel. And then open the back of the knee as you strengthen the muscles around the knee joint. So as you extend the leg up, right, keep the back body on the ground. So you might have to let up on the strap a little bit so you have more space. But focus on the back of the leg being as extended as it can rather than bringing the toes towards the face. I promise there's nothing special about if your toes, the closeness that your toes have to your face. But the important part is you staying grounded in your back body and focusing on your exhale. And then from here, keep pressing down through so it's like from the heel, there's like this downward energy that's happening. And then feel as if the right hip is pulling away from the left shoulder blade. And then you can decide whether you'd like to keep the left leg bent or extend the left leg out in front of you. Again, neither is better than the other. It's just finding one that you still feel grounded in and you can breathe more easily. And again, maybe asking yourself, what can you let go of in this shape? Right? For some folks, this is a preference shape where people are like so stoked to do it, while other people are like spitting venom at me that I'm asking you to hold the shape. And utilizing your exhale is like, all right, I'm just gonna let go of that for right now because I know this shape won't last forever. Or letting go of this desire for the shape to last forever. And then we'll inhale here. And then exhale to bring the right leg over to the right. But again, it's not necessarily that the right leg goes all the way to the right. We're just like moving it so that the femur stays in the hip socket. And the right leg is just slightly going over to the right. And keep the leg really active here. So the front leg muscles are pulling in towards the hip crease, hugging around the knee joint. And then from that place of strength, maybe the back of the knee opens. Again, it's not, you don't absolutely need it, but if it happens, then great. If it doesn't happen, let it go. And then we'll inhale to bring the right leg up towards center, and then you'll switch hands if you have the strap. And so you'll just bring the left hand on the strap and you'll bring the right leg over to the left. Again, it doesn't have to go very far, just so that you feel a little bit of tension on the outside of the right leg. If you have the hands interlaced around the thigh, you just draw the leg up that way. And we'll breathe here. All right. And we'll inhale the right leg up. And then if your left knee is not bent, start to bend the knee to bring the left foot on the floor. And then you'll take the right leg out of the strap, bring the right foot on the floor. And then we'll switch sides. So bring the strap to the ball of the left foot, or interlace the hands behind the thigh, and then extend the left leg up. Flex at the front of the ankle, and then draw from that ankle, the front of the ankle. I was going to say ankle crease, but mine doesn't crease. You'll start to draw that energy down towards your hip crease. And then from that downward pull, it also pulls away from your left shoulder blade. And then strengthen the front of the leg muscle. And then from that strength, maybe the back of the knee open. And continue to press the back of the body onto the ground as you breathe here. And then we'll inhale here. And then exhale now to move the left leg over to the left. This is actually where the wall comes in handy, where I can just rest my legs. So if you have a prop or a couch or something, that can be really nice, or you can keep the leg extended up. A great practice of the vairagya, right, is especially in these poses, is letting go of what you expect these poses to be like, or look like, right? That especially in terms of how you're showing up on your mat today and in this moment, just kind of letting your body show you the pose rather than having your body fit the pose. And then we'll inhale to bring the left leg up and then switch sides. So the left leg goes over to the right, doing whatever you need to facilitate that, while still keeping the left hip crease pulled away from your shoulder blade. And breathing. Right, and using the exhale to let go a little bit more. And whatever you're letting go of can be totally personal, right? It could just be that you're letting go of the exhale. Or maybe there's something a bit more emotional that you can let go of, or maybe something mental like a thought or a story that keeps coming up for you. And so intentionally with each exhale, what can you let go of even more? And then we'll inhale the leg back up. And then from here, if your right leg is extended, bend the knee, and then you'll bend the left knee to bring the foot on the floor. And then make the strap loop really big. If you have a really big strap, great. If you don't, I will give you options. So if you don't have an extended strap, you'll bring the balls of your feet into, so just watch me first to show the options. So you'll bring the balls of your feet into the strap and you'll extend out into a staff pose while keeping the shoulder blades on the ground, right? And again, the space between your feet and your hands can be really long here. It's more important to keep the back body on the ground rather than the shortness of the strap. If you have one of these really long straps, this is one of my favorite shapes. You'll make a loop that's really, really big. It's wrapped around. Okay. And then you'll bring the strap underneath your shoulders. So kind of not so much in your armpit crease, but down in your shoulder blades. And then you'll rest on the floor with the legs extended upward and keep the buckle so that you can pull the strap close to you. Oh, my door slammed in my apartment when the wind's blowing. So from here, you'll extend out through the heels and then press into the shoulder blades onto the ground and then bring your palms face down on the sides beside you. And again, right, like the toes don't have to be that close to the face. You can have a really big loop of the strap if that feels better. If you don't have a strap, just extend your feet up towards the ceiling and then strengthen through the front of the legs and maybe the backs of your knees open. But it'll be a more intense like core strength if you don't have yourself in the strap. And like with anything, I suggest if none of this works for you and you need to take a break, please feel free. All these poses are optional. But regardless of whatever shape you are in or whatever choice you have made, utilize your exhale as your ability to like let go of the expectations you have for yourself and what your yoga pose looks like. And from here, start to press into the back of the pelvis as you start to press into the tops of the shoulder blades, so that your back body is really rooting onto the ground as you extend out through the heels and strengthen through the fronts of the legs. Oh, my Siri just keeps starting up. So sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay. And then we'll do this maybe for a round or two of breath. And then when you're ready, so you have two options here. If you have it in your body, maybe you start to roll up into the strap. Or if you're kind of like me today, you can just take the strap off, roll to the side, and then come to sit up. And from here, so I'll show you the multiple options. So I'll show you with the strap that's not very long. You're going to place the balls of your feet in the strap. And we're going to work with Navasana. So what's really important in Navasana, open heart, shoulders rolling down the back. Imagine that you're pressing the back body into the floor, but you're lifting. And you'll bring your feet into the strap, and then you'll start to lift the legs up, keeping the heart open and extending out through the feet. And then from here, you can play around with whether you'd like to extend the legs or keep them bent. If you roll back behind you, know that that's totally normal, right? That are like, but you want to find a place on your sits bones where you can balance, right? It's kind of like, you know, the Weeble Wobble toys in the 80s, right? It's like finding the place where your Weeble Wobble doesn't fall down. All right, but so the next option is if you have the strap, again, have a really wide loop. It might be the same distance that you had previously. And my preference is always to like keep the strap side that you can shorten to the side. But you'll bring the strap underneath your shoulder blades or like on your shoulder blades. And then you extend up so that you can sit kind of in your boat pose. So this is boat pose. And then play around with maybe you extend the legs and you can kind of sit back here. If you don't have a strap, you can do this, right? Just sitting up without the strap. It just makes it a little bit more challenging. All right, you saw how my heart kind of goes in. So with each exhale, right, like, right, what can you let go of so that you can be in this posture more fully as you breathe here, right? Maybe you lift the corners of your mouth to help you really be in this posture in the hardest version, right? Or the most advanced version. And then we'll take maybe 3 more rounds of breath, right? Commit to 3 rounds. Maybe you start to extend the legs here. Or maybe you say, absolutely not, Heather. You just fall on the ground. Again, it's your yoga, and like letting go of like what the poses mean or what it means for you to be in the most advanced version or to hold it for the longest, right? It's just yoga. And then we'll take 1 or 2 more full rounds of breath in this pose. And if you're not already there, start to release the feet down. Release your whole body out of the strap. Move it away. And then we'll come to rest on your back once again. And have your block handy. And bring your feet down to the floor. And you'll bring your palms face down by your sides. And then have your knees about parallel to each other and hips width distance. And then we'll start with the palms face down and then pressing into the back body. Again, it's like the space between your shoulder blades, that whole surface area of the upper back is pressing into the ground and you're broadening through the collarbones here. Then from here, start to press into the heels and then press your low back into the ground as you start to lift the hips and come into a bridge shape. Strengthen the back of the body. Keep pressing the space between your shoulder blades and the upper back into the ground as you lift your hips. And then keep lifting your heart, but then pull in your bottom ribs. And then from your pelvis, there's like a pulling energy out towards your knees here. And then from the back of the knees are pulling all the way up towards your glutes through your hamstring. And then an exhale, lowering vertebra by vertebra all the way down to the ground. All right, we'll do this 2 more times. Inhale, press into the heels, press the low back into the ground, and then we'll start to lift and rise through the hips. And then exhale to lower down to the ground. And then last time, inhale to lift the hips, press into the backs of the hands, the shoulder blades, and the back of the head, right? So the back of the head is kind of like rooting down through the ground. Keep the legs strong, the belly engaged, the heart lifted. And then exhale to lower everything down to the ground. All right. Okay, we'll inhale here to lift the hips and, well, actually first watch me. So keep your hips kind of planted on the ground. And so now you have options. So if you have a yoga brick, that's fantastic. If you don't, I will also show without the brick, but I'm gonna first show it with the brick. So you have multiple options. You have it on the first height or the second height. Do not go on the third height. If you have lots of range in your back, use 2 blocks stacked on top of each other. So I'm just gonna show the first 2 and then you get to decide what feels good in your body, and if you have the extra space, please feel free to have some fun. So you'll lift your hips and then bring the block to the base of your spine, so like your sacrum, pelvis area, and then you'll lower the hips down, palms face down. And then you'll extend the legs up towards the ceiling with the inner legs together, pressing up through the legs, right? We've been doing lots of opening up of the backs of the legs, and so this is kind of the culmination pose while adding a little bit of a back bend, all right? If you don't have a brick, totally fine. This is where the folded up blanket or the pillow comes in handy. It might be a bit more challenging to have some softness under the hips, but you can also, again, just practice. Essentially, you just want the pelvis higher than the heart for this shape. If it feels like a lot to keep the legs lifted, there's a wall nearby. Please feel free to use the wall, or you can do the legs of the wall. So I'll show you this last little bit, where you bring your whole body towards the wall, and then you roll onto your back and extend the legs upward. And then from here, you'll lift your hips and then bring a prop like a block or a bolster, and rest. So now, once you've kind of chosen this shape, begin to let the body settle here. And once again, take a moment to kind of notice what parts of your body are connecting to the floor and see if you can soften into those places while simultaneously releasing any bit of gripping or resistance happening in your body that doesn't need to be there. Right? Maybe softening the space between your eyebrows or releasing your jaw. Maybe even wiggling out a little bit here to like get some of that gripping out. And with each exhale, see if you can soften into this shape a little bit more. You're going to ask yourself as you hold this, right? What can you let go of in this moment? What does not serve you in your yoga practice that doesn't have to be here? And maybe, right, the letting go is of being able to let go perfectly, right? That maybe your letting go is just letting go of the exhale. So we'll hold this for maybe a couple more minutes, so 2 to 3 minutes. And if you've already had it with this shape and feel like you've done the most with it, you can start to release down. But we'll stay here again for a couple more minutes. If you started to release down, you can come into the shape that we went into the beginning, where your legs are extended in front of you so that the hip crease is the highest part of your body. Again, knowing that the point of yoga is not necessarily getting the outer pose correct or done perfectly or held the longest. That the really important part is that you are able to be in your body and be in your experience without needing it to be any different than what it is, while also not expecting it to stay the same. Right, the practice of letting go is really an opportunity to befriend change, to befriend growth and befriend evolution. That can happen within you or without you. If you haven't already transitioned out of the pose, start to lower the legs, tugging the knees into the chest and then extending them out in front of you just for a moment. If you really like that shape where your hips are lifted, you can stay there. Or if you're ready, you can start to bend the knees, place the feet on the floor, and then lift the hips to remove the prop so that you can come into your final resting shape. Without fidgeting too much, just kind of let your body go where it goes. To this like ultimate pose of letting go, right? Where you release any intentional activity in the body and let your body feel really heavy here. Releasing any place of gripping or resistance. As you start to release your attention from the exhale, to open your awareness to just include whatever comes up for you in this shape. As I read some words from one of my favorite teachers, Michael Stone, who says, When we practice sincerely, what we want in life becomes simpler and simpler. What yoga teaches us is to stop looking outside the heart for satisfaction. We are so clever at finding external reasons to perpetuate our habits, because even if we see that our habits cause us distress, we keep repeating them because they are known. This is why we practice. Time by itself does not heal these kinds of illusions. If they are not seen directly, time just entrenches them further. We need a strong commitment to letting go and to paying attention to the clinging involved in difficult mental and physical states. When we inspect our everyday experience in detail, we see that death and birth occur one right after the other in every successive moment. What we see in one breath cycle, we see everywhere. And so beginning to let yourself just rest here without having to do anything. As we rest for the final moments of class in silence. And begin to bring your attention back to your breath. And slowly begin to invite movement back into your body in a way that feels intuitive. And then eventually using the next 30 seconds or so to make your transition into a comfortable sit. You can place your palms face down on your thighs or your hands together in front of your heart. As I invite you to close your eyes or have a soft gaze and bow your head towards your own heart. To acknowledge that with our yoga practice, an important part is showing up while also simultaneously letting go of expectations of what that looks like. And by letting go of expectations of how things should be or how things were, we open ourselves up to the infinite possibilities of what can occur now. A big, deep bow of gratitude to every single one of you. Thank you so much for spending your Thursday afternoon with me. Thank you.